When Emily first asked Jason for a 1-month break, she told herself it was about clarity. Not escape, not detachment, but understanding. Their relationship had become steady, familiar maybe to familiar. There was no screaming, no bitterness, just a soft, aching question that had begun to echo in her chest. Was this love, or was it comfort? Was she staying because it was right or because it was easy? She wasn't unhappy, not exactly, but neither was she overjoyed. So, she asked for space, a little time to listen to the quiet within her, to see if his absence would feel like freedom or like something far more painful. Jason had looked startled when she told him. His expression had frozen mid-reach for his coffee mug, and for a long moment, the only sound between them was the low hum of the refrigerator. Then he nodded slowly, eyes dark with something he didn't voice. If that's what you need, he said softly. She caught it then, the flicker of hurt in his eyes, quick and unguarded. Though he worked to cover it with calm, he didn't protest, he didn't plead. That, more than anything, cut her deeply. It would have been easier, somehow, if he had fought back. But Jason simply let her go, and that quiet acceptance bruised a part of her she didn't expect. She packed a small bag that evening, forcing herself to focus on logistics: socks, face wash, chargers, anything but the growing knot in her chest. Olivia welcomed her with warm blankets and understanding silence. No probing questions, just a spare room and space. Emily told herself it was temporary, just for weeks of solitude. Just time, nothing more. The first day blurred by in fragments: brunch with friends she hadn't seen in a while, a long yoga session she barely remembered, and endless scrolling through her phone like it could fill the emptiness. But as soon as the noise settled and she found herself alone with her thoughts, it all rushed in. She kept remembering Jason in all the small ways that never seemed important before. How he always made her tea exactly the way she liked it without asking. How he'd text her after arriving anywhere just so she wouldn't worry. How he instinctively reached for her hand in crowded spaces, as though it were the most natural thing in the world. That night, she lay in Olivia's quiet apartment, the soft rhythm of her friend's snoring echoing through the silence. The ceiling above her felt impossibly blank. She stared at it until her eyes stung. Her thoughts drifted to the last dinner Jason made for her: pasta, heavy on garlic, with a side of sincere effort. She had smiled through every bite, not because it was perfect, but because it was his. She found herself smiling again now, then immediately frowned. Why was she thinking about that? Why did it suddenly matter so much? On the third day, her fingers hovered over her phone. She had opened a message thread to Jason before she even realized it. But what could she possibly say? Hey, I miss you already. It felt too soon, too raw, too revealing. She backed out of the message app and instead scrolled through their photos. There they were, laughing by the lake, blurry and sun-kissed. That selfie in the grocery store aisle when he made her laugh by pretending the cantaloupe was a phone. That quiet moment he kissed her forehead, not knowing she'd captured it. Each image unraveled her resolve like thread tugged loose. Later that afternoon, she bumped into Brian, an old acquaintance she used to flirt with in college. He was handsome, smooth in a way Jason never tried to be. When he invited her for coffee, she said yes, curiosity, maybe, or the quiet pressure to prove to herself that she was doing the right thing by exploring the world outside. What she'd known. 15 minutes in, she already knew. The conversation was light but hollow, like trying to laugh in a room that didn't echo. Every joke, every smile from Brian felt forced. She found herself comparing it all to Jason without even meaning to. And Jason kept winning, every single time. When she returned to Olivia's place, Emily didn't say a word. She just sat for a while, staring at her phone, lost in the soft thunder of realization. Then she called her mother. I think I made a mistake, she whispered. There was no lecture on the other end, no told you so, just the steady breath of a mother who knew when her child's voice was shaking. That night, Emily called Jason. Her heart pounded as the line rang. When he answered, his voice was guarded but gentle. Hi, she said, her voice quiet. I miss you. A pause, and then his reply, careful and aching. 3 days in. She laughed softly, embarrassed by the truth. Yeah, 3 days, that's all it took. Jason didn't say much after that. He didn't have to. She could hear it in the silence, the warmth creeping back in. The soft cracking of walls that never wanted to be built between them in the first place. "Do you want to come home?" he asked, voice low. She nodded, even though he couldn't see it. "Yes, if you'll have me." When she stepped through the doorway that night, Jason was there, not with a list of questions or a storm of emotions, but with open arms. He held her for a long time, saying everything she needed to hear without a single word. His arms wrapped around her in that way that always made her feel protected, anchored, chosen. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't cinematic. It was real, quiet, steady, forgiving. They didn't talk much after that. They didn't need to. They simply sat on the couch together like they always had, his arm draped over her shoulders, her head resting exactly where it belonged. Emily exhaled a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. It was in that stillness that she finally understood. Love didn't always roar. Sometimes it whispered. Sometimes it waited. Sometimes it quietly made tea and kissed your forehead and never stopped showing up even when you tried to walk away. The break hadn't torn them apart. If anything, it gently revealed what she had somehow forgotten. Jason wasn't just someone she could live with. He was the one she couldn't imagine living without. She hadn't needed a month to know that. Just 3 silent days to finally hear the truth that had been there all along. And it had always been his name her heart was calling.